Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 Dreamcast review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Sonic Adventure, a video my brother has not been looking forward to editing because there are 6 unique characters, so I'm going to have to show everyone off, which means a hell of a lot of cuts. Anyway, at the start you simply get your usual of choosing which file you want. When you go into it then, you've got the 6 characters there, and I just want to quickly mention, it's a little bit of a shame that Sega didn't have a sense of humour, because that is STKABE. I immediately spelled out basket, and it would have been quite nice for them, because when you start, all bar Sonic, which is blue there, is grey, so I think it's the type of thing that if they were all grey and it just started with basket, people would be demented for a little while until they unlocked a couple of characters. But anyway, I'm going to just go into the game. The whole point of Sonic, well, technically there's more than one point. The main point is there's 130 emblems to collect, which some are in levels, some are outside the levels in the World Hub. But I don't think there'll be many people out there actually wanting to get all of those, because it means playing as some characters way more than you should have to. But anyway, you've got Adventure, you've then got Trial, which allows you to play any of the stages you've unlocked in mini-games and that, and it just allows you to practice them a bit. You've then got Options, where you can choose a few things, not much though. On the Adventure menu though, you do get, as I say, a choice of 6 characters. You've got Sonic, who's the fast guy. You've got Tails, who can fly. You've got Knuckles, who can glide and is a bit of a brawler. You've got Amy, who's got a big huge hammer, and she's okay. You've got E102, codename Gamma, who's a little confusing, his story. I'll mention that in a bit, because I don't think it's the type of thing I can really do spoilers for a game this old, quite frankly. And he's a robot who locks on. If you ever played Sonic Adventure 2 but not Sonic Adventure 1, then basically think of Dr. Robotnik and Tails as levels. And then you've got Big the Cat, who I'll save his description till last. Reasons will become apparent a bit later on. So, Sonic, every one of the characters, when you choose them, you can view the instruction. Once you've beat the game, you can view their ending. Otherwise, you can just go into the game and it'll start you in the main hub, which I'll just cut into now. So, what can Sonic do then that's unique to Sonic? Well, basically, you can get different items, because as you go through, they can all upgrade. Sonic gets 3, everyone else except Big the Cat gets 4, and Big gets 6. And Sonic, therefore, is just your usual Sonic, really. He's super fast, he can jump, he can do a homing attack. His powers are the ability to charge up to do a light speed attack, which is that, and it can decimate enemies, although I'll be honest, I only used it once on the section where you actually have to use it, and other than that I never bothered with it because I didn't need to. It can also collect rings if they're in a straight line, so it can allow you to get to a different area. Apologies if my voice just changed there, something just went up my nose, a little itchy. Either way, moving on. That's basically Sonic, and you go around the main hub, struggling to find where you have to go. Actually, I really did. It took me a long time to learn what to do, and eventually you have to find these little pink things that tell you what, like where to go and give you hints, but sometimes they're completely useless and tell you to do what you've already done. Either way though, that's Sonic. Time to cut into Tails. Right then, Tails, he's pretty much as you'd expect really, except not if you've only played the 2D ones, because Tails used to be a clone of Sonic, but he could fly. Well, he can still fly and glide and basically jump off a mountain and glide down, and that's the gist of one of his levels really. It's I'll be honest, I found Tails' levels to be very boring until they split up, because the whole story of the game I think's a bit naff anyway, and it's one of those things that the voice acting's awful, I just didn't like it. I didn't really get into the actual story at all. I hated the awful music, and I don't mean the music that's playing now, the stage music, and that's pretty good. I just mean the actual, like, pop music that plays. I think it's really meh, and quite frankly, ear-bleedingly cringeworthy. But the whole point is, when you play as different characters, you quite often do the same things you've already done before, but from their viewpoint, only things change. So for example, with Sonic, you play through, everything's normal, because that's Sonic, you unlock Tails, you play through, you do 2 or 3 of the same levels, only with Tails being the hero. You do 2 or 3 of the same levels again when you're Knuckles, with Knuckles being the hero. Tails' levels revolve around actually racing characters basically. Sonic's just usually, it's get to the end of the level, do what your objective is, and fight the boss if there is one, and go forward and onward. Tails, it tends to be race someone to the end of the level and you've got to get there first, and despite them being races, they're actually really slow and boring for the most part, especially the level that I was starting to mention where you just jump off a mountain and glide down to the very end of the level. That's literally all you have to do. It's completely pointless. Knuckles is a bit different, and I will move on to him, but I'll just might as well mention the only other thing Tails can do is, instead of doing a jump and spinning attack or anything, he can whip with his tail, and that's where his upgrades come in, because you can get the ability to do a continuous whip until you pretty much hit something. I'll try and show it when I land here. There we go. So, on to Knuckles then. So, Knuckles, he can basically jump around and glide, and plays just like he did on the other one. The other games with the whole gliding. You can then also do punching attacks, and he's got cool combos. You can charge up to do a cool punching attack as well, and that's his upgrades. You can also dig underground, which is another upgrade. And he's just a really good character. I did like his missions, because the whole point is you have to glide around and collect gem shards. And the radar system works well. Basically, if you're near any one of the emerald shards, then it lights up, and it lights up a degree to see how close or far away you are. It's something they actually removed for the sequel and made it so that you only can see the one that you're supposed to get to. So see how there's 3 at the bottom? The radar would only tell you where the first one is, whereas now it's telling me where the second one is. It's something that in the second one that really did ruin these levels, I think, by doing that, because it meant that instead of doing one big scour of the entire level, you had to do 3 big scours of the entire level, because you may have missed it by literally centimetres. It might have just been out of your eyesight, and it meant that you had to go around the entire level again. So on this Sonic, because I played this one after Sonic Adventure 2, I must admit I enjoyed these levels a hell of a lot more than I thought I was going to. Knuckles plays well, the gameplay is good, there's very little glitches with the camera, something which unfortunately can't be said about Sonic's gameplay. There's quite a lot of times where the camera got me killed, and I died more times with the camera than I did from the actual difficulty of the game, which is always bad in my books. But anyway, that's pretty much Knuckles explained. Let's go on to AME. 3 down, 3 to go on to AME Walls. Basically, AME has a huge hammer, and one of our upgrades is that you can get a bigger hammer, the other one's that you can spin around, and spinning around with a big hammer means that you can do a big spin around attack. However, you can't move when you're doing it, and if you do it too much, you'll get dizzy like that. AME's a little bit annoying with the camera on a couple of levels, because as soon as the camera starts to move, you stop running fully, and you need to run fully in order to do that, and that's her best way of jumping. So there'll be quite a lot of times where you've got to take a long run up to hit your hammer to leap over something to get to the next section of the level, only for the camera to just start to move, or you have to move the camera to be able to see, and next thing you know, you've got to take the run up over and over again. AME's missions tend to involve being chased by a big robot, and you've just got to get away from them. She's quite simple, she's barely got any levels. I did enjoy her levels. Let's move on to Gamma. Right then, Gamma. The reason I've started a little early is to mention the story. What I find odd is that the whole point of Gamma's story, Robotnik, or Eggman if you want to call him that, I still prefer Robotnik, and he is called both in this one. I think it's just the second one where they only refer to him as Eggman, and even then the might is Robotnik, and I've just forgot. He's created Gamma, and he says, your big brother Beta is in the training room, you must go there, and he then makes you fight him, and all the way through he's saying Beta's better than you, and it just makes no sense then. Why would Robotnik make Beta and then think, you know what, this robot's a little bit too good for me, next one I'm going to make him a bit crapper? It just seems incredibly stupid, quite frankly, and a bit far-fetched and hard to believe. Especially because then the whole point is you have to beat Beta and actually prove that you're the best robot after all. However, the only reason you're the best robot after all is because you've got human, you know, a human brain controlling him rather than a computer brain, and there's a lot of times when computers can't beat humans, whereas there's a lot of times that computers can beat humans. Having free will of thought does actually help out in a lot of things, and that's the whole point with, well, Gamma being better than Beta. Basically though, as I was saying, if you've played Sonic Adventure 2, his whole attacks are that you can get a lock on with a laser and you fire at items or enemies and that, you get time to add it to your timer because you start with a limited timer, and it tends to be a case of getting to the end of the level, catching someone or killing someone or attacking something in that time. So as you go along, you're pretty much constantly jumping and scanning just to try and get more time, although I'll be honest, I was never really pressed for time. His upgrades are his laser cannon, and he gets the ability to have a jetpack boost. So on to Big the Cat, and on to the reason why, even though he's the 5th character, I've saved him till last. Right then, Big the Cat. His whole existence proves that Sega does actually have a sense of humour, because he is one big cruel joke. As you might have guessed, I do actually quite like this game. I never really liked the 3D Sonics, but someone told me get the Dreamcast versions. Trust me, they're so much better. It's every time they've been ported, the codings went wrong, there's problems with them. So as it came with the bundle I bought, I thought, fine, I'll try it, and I did enjoy it. There's got some glitches to it, and I don't think it's the, you know, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 game that everyone gives it. I think it's pretty much in the same league as Super Mario 64. It had a lot of good ideas, it done quite a few things right, but some things were majorly wrong, and overall they didn't ruin the game for me, but they definitely lessened my enjoyment. Big the Cat though does ruin the game for me, does completely ruin my enjoyment, and it's the reason why I'll never get to play as the 7th character, because there is a 7th character, Supersonic. You have to beat all 6 of the campaigns in order to get Supersonic. Big the Cat though, well, you might have noticed he's got a fishing rod, and I went up and smacked someone, and, well, to be fair, I missed, but still, that's how he attacks. He's also got a jump, but his whole levels revolve around catching fish. It doesn't work. I find the gameplay broken. It's very annoying that you're only supposed to be catching specific fish at times, so on this level I'm just supposed to catch my friend who's a frog with a tail, and if another fish bites, I've got to go through the whole motion, which I think it's going to, yep, of trying to actually catch him. Because if I fail to catch him, then I actually lose a life. And so even though I'm not supposed to be catching this fish, if I don't catch him, I'll lose a life. And I'll be honest, I've never actually caught a fish yet, because you might have noticed the red bar over there, and that's basically strain on the line. If it reaches maximum, your line snaps and you lose a life. You've got to basically hold buttons down in order to reel the fish in, and you've also got to waggle the analog a bit in certain directions, and that puts strain on. But if the fish gets away, then you also lose a life. So the gameplay itself, I find, doesn't really work, and it's completely broken, especially on sections like this, where I think the wall's stopping me from catching him. And it's just incredibly annoying, quite frankly. It really does ruin the game and make me wonder why the hell he was actually put into the game. It doesn't make any sense, it doesn't fit with the rest of the game. I always wondered why people hated him, because as far as I was concerned, he was just a big cat that was purple, and what was wrong with that? And then it's only when you play the game you realise just how bad the fishing gameplay is, just how much it doesn't fit into the game. Don't get me wrong, fishing can actually be really good in a game. Look at Ocarina of Time, I absolutely adored the fishing game in that, but that's probably because it actually worked. If I failed to catch a fish, I didn't die, and once I lost all my lives, because you don't have them, I didn't have to exit out, restart the entire level again. And there's levels where you have to catch more than one fish, so say you've caught 3 fish and you die, for all I know, you might have to go right back to the start. It might give you checkpoints or something. As I say, I've not actually managed to catch a fish yet, so I can't see it, and I hate the gameplay that much that I'm honestly not even going to bother playing it anymore, and I will never get to see Supersonic, and quite frankly, I'm not so much happy about that, but I've gave in to the thought, I've let it go, I've got past it and moved on to another game by now. So, just to reiterate, the game is 5/6 great. It's Tails levels are a bit boring until the breakaway, as I say. Knuckles levels are really good, Amy's levels are really good, I loved playing as Gamma, and I really liked Sonic. It's got some glitches, it's got some problems, but none compare to the awfulness that is Big the Cat. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.